Last time on Long Distance Dungeons & Dragons Dinner Theater, our adventurers left the desert and trekked back to Pelorix with their prisoner Pleek, but were stopped by guards that asked about the tied-up gnome, and soon recognized Osk as a wanted man. Osk was taken into custody, and Aristophanes snuck away with Jock and Kit following close behind. Aristophanes revealed to them his mission to assassinate one of the local judges, and they gathered intel and plotted a way to murder him and free Osk. Everyone else paid for passage to Northport, with hopes Longa would punish Pleek. And now, Long Distance Dungeons & Dragons Dinner Theater continues.
You guys arrive in the city of Southport, at the port of Southport. There's a lot of people from the Blinding Light Guild. There's pretty much everyone in the Southport is Blinding Light. So there's a bunch of Blinding Light boats arriving, and this private ship kind of drops you off and very quickly leaves. So the five of you are on the dock there with a bunch of Blinding Light Guild members and such, heading into the town of Southport.
I tell Cersei that we should go see Longa.
Yep, let's
go to Longa.
People who aren't awake or incapacitated to our war camels and parade them down the street to Longa.
Yep.
Alright, where do you try to meet Longa at?
I think she would be at the Blinding Light Guild. Can I ask someone real quick where Longa is?
You may. Roll me diplomacy.
Okay. That's going to be an 18.
They say, oh, you're early. They say she's waiting for you at the tavern, but you're not supposed to be there till dusk.
Okay, Cersei,
You guys have like 2 hours till dusk, but someone's just told you that you need to be at the tavern at dusk.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just spam to that point.
Yeah, we'll take him to the Blinding Light Guild first.
Yeah.
And or her, we'll hang out on the five of us there.
Alright, so you guys go to the Blinding Light Guild Hall. Any of you guys members of the Blinding Light Guild? Do you have the Mark of Judgment?
I do.
Yeah, he's got the judgment, but not for the good reason.
No, you don't. I thought you cut that arm off.
I did, but I'm Ramses too.
Well, you don't have the mark on you. They won't let you in the guild hall without the Mark of Judgment.
Alright. But I thought she incorporated me as a corporal spirit.
I mean, you're working for the researchers and stuff, but you're not a member of the Blinding Light Guild unless you take the mark.
Okay.
You're not a member of the guild. You're a member of the You're not even a member of the researchers. You're just kind of working for her.
Yeah, I'm just the spirit she brought.
Yeah.
Old to.
You're a pawn for her. You're her pawn, basically. You're not a member of any of the groups unless you become a member of the groups. So you cannot get into the guild hall.
Yeah. So we'll wait till dusk and go to the tavern.
Alright, you guys just kind of like walk around town aimlessly with someone tied up. People look at you strangely. 1 second, I have to get
The old dragon graveyard, much big squirm in the holy land.
You guys go to the sacred ground? You guys go to the sacred ground?
I mean, he is a chaotic evil person, and we're in a, lawful good area, but...
I mean, it's very bright, but only the graveyard, the sacred grounds... If you go to the sacred ground of the graveyard, it will actually physically hurt Pleek. That's why I'm asking. If you go there.
Yeah,
I think we just should stay up to the
Just kind of kill time. You guys report to the tavern at dusk.
Ah!
The door to the tavern seems to be locked. And you guys try the doorknob, the tavern seems to be closed, the door seems to be locked. But roll me a perception check. As soon as you guys shake the door handle, roll me a perception check.
Natural 20. Your door.
I got a 14.
Well, long as a hard lady to miss. 29. Alright, everyone except possibly Ramses. Everyone else notices right away. Even though it's bright here for dusk. It's dusk, so it's gotten darker, but it's still strangely bright. It gets even brighter as longer approaches, and everyone except possibly Ramses notices it right away, and Ramses will probably notice it very shortly after, as long as it gets closer. And approaches you guys and says, you guys trying to get in the tavern?
We're trying to meet you.
She says, well, I was on my way here. I says, you guys were early, I guess.
We were told to be here at dusk.
She says, that's right. She says, really, I thought you'd be here a couple weeks ago, but since the delay, she says, I guess now we'll have to do.
Well, we did, what you asked for with the, with the crystal, we gained access to a new crystal.
She says, "Oh, and did you stop anyone that was unfit to touch the crystal from touching it?"
We stopped him from taking it.
We stopped.
We were hoping that she was going to.
Everyone
Change their
deserves
ways.
a chance
Oh,
for
gee.
shit over, and someone.
Just, shh. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that inside. Just hurry, come inside. We have a lot to talk about.
Okay, and real quick, did we destroy photos? Or do you have it?
You guys are looking for that for a while.
Okay, yeah. Alright, we're in.
Alright, you walk into the tavern. I'm gonna go kind of sideways here. The guys that are hiding in underground. I believe it's Alec. Alec, no, not yet. I don't want to do that yet, but the three of you, Alec, Harlock, and Morgan, need you to roll a perception check while you're underground.
27.
Alright, that's enough, at least for you, even if Morgan doesn't notice anything else. Harlock will notice, or Alec will notice, that there are two people. There's a great large wooden door that leads from this hall that you're in into some more caverns. It opens and two figures walk through and head towards the ladder. How high was your perception check?
27.
That's high enough to know that one of them seems to be a shorter, older woman, and one of them seems to be some sort of amalgamum, like glass/elf or drow mechanical golem being. And they're both heading in upstairs into the tavern. Do anything or just take note of it?
Yeah. I'm gonna greet them.
Greet them as they pass? Alright, they'll be startled to see you there. What do you say? Roll me diplomacy and say what you're going to say.
Who are you? Why are you here?
They say we could ask you the same question.
I'm gonna roll diplomacy and be like, thought it was just us down here, this voice. Gonna hand her a drink and be like, what are you all up to?
We've been on a vendor.
I will say, have either one of you encountered Nona, the lady that has the deck of many things before?
Yeah. I met
If
her
you-
in the city, the fire city or whatever.
Oh, then you would definitely recognize that the lady that is here with this strange elf golem man is Nona, the lady from the deck of many things.
Oh, cool. I greet her. I'm like, oh, we met. You
Yeah.
gave me a fortune one time.
Yeah. She'll say, "Oh, I give fortunes to so many people." She says, "I'm sure yours was great, though."
Yeah, thanks a lot. I feel really special.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I'm a very busy woman. I don't think you understand the curse that I have. I see a lot of people. It's a complicated curse.
I think you understand the curse I have. You want to play this game again?
She says, "Really, I'm on the way to a very important meeting right now." She says, "Maybe we'll talk to you guys later, though."
Oh, yeah, we waited 3 weeks. We probably wait another round of objective sorts of things. Of many.
Yeah. She says, "Well, I've got very important business to deal with right now. Maybe if you're around later, we can talk about it."
Okay, you're all right.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay.
All right. She heads up the ladder and waves goodbye to you guys downstairs.
Like, I guess we should probably go, huh? I'm gonna follow her up. I mean, follow her up.
You're gonna follow her up?
Yeah.
All right. You guys follow upstairs. Meanwhile, the door to the tavern opens, and you guys, Cersei, Ramses, Pleek, Juan on a camel, and Froderick, is that who's with you also? All right, so the camel is Juan on the camel outside, is like laying over a hump, or are you like dragging her in with you? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll drag her in and prop her up in the chair.
All right, you'll bring the sleeping Kitsune in with you.
Yeah.
She was awake on the boat, but it's the fun thing about like traveling on a boat is like some of the time she was awake, then she was back asleep, and then back awake, and just right now she's asleep. Harriet's with you. Harriet traveled with you, so Harriet is still small, has not been back enlarged to her normal size, but she's on top of your body, just like cuddled around you, just keeping you safe, like hissing at people that come near you and things like that. So she's been like a protective cat, basically. So you walk Pleek into the bar also, leaves Juan outside, so you'll get Pleek and Harriet down off the camel. And all of you guys will go into the bar. As you do, roll me perception checks. Please
God.
fine.
And
20,
11.
not natural.
Yeah, that's all good enough. As soon as you walk in the bar, you'll recognize Nona, who is the lady from the Deck of Many Things. Anyone that has ever met Barclay will recognize that the golem with him is Barclay. If you've never met Barclay, you'll just see a weird glass golem look kind of like Morgan did, except male, and slightly stranger. You will notice Long is there, of course. You will also notice that Alec and Morgan and Harlock are there if you've met them. If you've not, you'll just notice them as their various descriptors.
Yeah, we wouldn't recognize.
You wouldn't recognize Morgan, I guess, in spider form, but they could. I don't know. You probably wouldn't recognize the skull either because it's just a skull. But yeah, they could probably tell you who it is, or if not, you could just be like, "Well, those guys have a mechanical spider now." So, like I said, you either take it on surface value if that's all you know, or if you know more, you'll recognize people for who they are. But if you're not, you'll just see these people as who they are on surface value. You'll see Longa as a very beautiful elf. You'll see, Nona as an old gnomish or halfling lady. You'll see Barclay as some sort of strange glass mechanical elf golem. But yeah, they're all there in the same room together with all of you guys. Yeah.
Okay.
And they greet all of you and shake all of your hands and introduce themselves as their names. So if you didn't know them before, you now do know them. Even the Deck of Many Things lady, if you ever just called her Deck of Many Things lady before, you now know her name is Nona, and she's introducing herself to you as a person, not just as a lady that does this game. And Barclay, in the same capacity, whether or not you've met before on any other terms, is introducing himself as just in a general, like just friends at a party, shaking your hand, meeting you. Also, walking in late is someone that only Vortiga and maybe Ramses, if Ramses is able to access Vortiga's memory, would recognize. I don't know if anyone else has met this person. Maybe Pleek has. Jagger Dyson. So in walks, looks like a humanoid with red skin who has very short, knobby horns on his head, a ponytail, looks like a very sleek-looking individual in a very nice suit. He's like fashionably late. He's 15 minutes after everyone else was there shaking hands. He walks in the front door of the bar also.
Yeah.
And they're all being very friendly. They're all being very friendly with you guys, greeting you, welcoming you. And they're saying some very strange things to you guys. They're saying like, "Welcome to the game." You seem like a great player. Things like that. They seem to be insinuating some sort of greater game scheme upon greeting you. This is Rat Race, yeah.
We're meeting John Cleese.
Alright, so at the end of this, they seat you all down in some seats in the tavern, and they're all four up front. That'd be Longa, Jagger, Nona, and Barclay. All up front, and you guys sitting in the bar. Some of you probably very confused right now, and conflicted about what's happening. Very confused about these people all being in the room together and okay with it. Feel that you can't leave. You're there, you're curious, you have to know what's going on. So they sit you down, and they all stand up in front of the room in front of you and say, when we say good and evil, many of you think of it as a dichotomy, as two things, as two sides opposed to one another. Is that not true?
Oh, it's yin and yang. It goes together.
So yeah, it's balance. It says, and in the yin and yang, there's not just black and white, there's a gray area. There's black in the white and white in the black. It says, it's very important to acknowledge. The four of us were adventurers in the last great quest for the two great crystals. And seeing as how many of you have now ascended into power, sharing that last crystal as you did, which was very noble and something that not many groups of adventurers do. Usually, and I'll say in our experience, many of us hogged the crystals that we found to ourselves and did not share them. So maybe your group has evolved beyond ours and your outcome will be different than ours. But we felt that it was our responsibility to warn you and maybe give you guys some knowledge about what you're getting into. So I feel like a lot of you don't know what's going on, except maybe Cersei, and they turn to Cersei and wink.
Alright.
They say, you might not know this, but this game has been going on for a long time. They say 50 years ago we played the game, and 50 years before that, people played the game, and 50 years before that, and they say, what happens is there are two great crystals, and about every 50 years, whoever's in charge it's a lot of power, and it's hard to contain. You're basically tapping into the power of the gods, and it's easy for us as humanoids to abuse that power or to take it in the wrong direction. 50 years ago, when the two great powers changed hands, a great war happened almost immediately between the two crystal holders because of just a personal grudge. And that lasted for a long time, and only through great effort was most of that forgotten. But in that time, also most of our efforts were forgotten. Through the efforts of the people at White Castle and through the researchers and the cleaners, most of our efforts, most of our adventurous deeds were forgotten. They were wiped from the memories of the people. You've probably never even heard of our exploits. You probably didn't even know about the Great Crystals, even though you're participating in this. 50 years ago, when all this stuff happened, you didn't even know it was happening because they made you forget. They made everyone forget what we did and our exploits and our adventures. And they'll do the same thing to you. They say even now there are already bards chanting your tales and singing your songs. But these songs will all be deleted from history if things go the same way they did for us. And you say we were relegated each to some sort of sub-roles working underneath the people that run the Great Crystals. And each of us have dealt that in our own ways. Longo will reveal to you that she was not one of the original 9. And by original, she means the previous 9. Because before that, there were 9 different players. And before that, there were 9 different players. And on till eternity. This game has been going on since the universe began as a way to balance a good and evil power. She was called in an emergency to help. She was actually an angel from another plane and was brought in as an ally, and much in the way that Aristophanes, who you might know, Aristophanes' father, was an ally of ours that was now in the original 9, and there were many others that helped us that came along the way that didn't come in our original bubble, which some of you might be familiar with the original bubble.
Yeah, it smashed my mommy.
It says, you arranged that, so I don't know why you're so upset. That was your idea.
I don't really do much about it to anybody. I kind of let it ride.
Yeah, that was your idea. I thought you wanted that to happen. You set all that up. They'll reveal to you, Cersei, that as a Samsaran with your many lives, you've been participating in the game for many eons under many different persona, without being one of the 9, just based on your knowledge of the game, because you were one of the 9 in a previous life. And using that knowledge in all of your new lives, at some point it becomes known to you, just like right now it's being revealed to you that you were previously one of the 9. At some point during every one of your lives, it becomes revealed to you your past lives, and that every time the game has been played, you've been involved in some way. And you've never, ever, ever been granted a Great Crystal. And you've kind of held a grudge about that since your first time that you played, but you play every time. As a matter of fact, you orchestrate things so that you're involved. The last time the game was set up, you actually signed up, because there's like a sign-up process when the adventure first begins. They like recruit adventurers from around the world, and where some people are kind of nominated and some people kind of volunteer, and they select 9. You actually went to one of those meetings and helped secure the arrangement of these 9 that were in this arrangement. So the 9 people that were in the original cube, you secured their positions. So everyone that was in the cube that landed on the house, you personally selected those people. The 9 people that crashed in your house, even the ones that are no longer with the group, you selected them to be in that cube, to be in that orb. And then you killed yourself immediately after you sedated them. So you sedated them to be put in the orb, where they were trapped, unbeknownst to themselves, and then murdered your own self to be reborn in time to participate in the next game.
Man, I love it.
Dude, that's so fucking badass.
Yeah, and you've been doing this for centuries. For centuries, you've been like setting up games and setting up the players so that you can participate. And you always try to pick players that have some sort of weight in the game, which is why a lot of the time in this game you chose people that were either somehow related to people that played in the previous game, or that would somehow affect things. You're an overall larger player. And the problem is that every time you're reborn, you forget a lot of that. That's why you have your Samsaran life wheel. You don't remember everything. So for you, that's kind of what you like about it, though, because for you, that's what makes it fun, is that every time you play the game, it's a brand new game. It's like a maze evolving every time, because you only remember small portions of it every time. So every time the game's new to you, you just love playing the game. You hope that one day you'll make it to the Great Crystal. Because you know, as long as you're involved, there's a chance. That's kind of how the game works. As long as you're involved with these 9 people and have touched a crystal, you've already, in this lifetime, interacted with quite a few. You've now interacted with more than anyone else, I believe. And you might even believe right now, you're not sure because you can't remember, this might even be as close as you've ever gotten to the Great Crystal. You don't know. Because you've done this a lot of times, but this is a long con for you. And they reveal that to you. And they reveal that all four of them were involved in your last mission, your last go for the crystal. And they know you personally, and that's why they're all here now, because they were waiting until you had enough of your allies touch the Great Crystal to set this into motion, because these were your instructions. Your instructions were to wait until enough of your allies had power, and then have them all meet together, and this is where we are, per Cersei's instructions in a previous life.
That's crazy, isn't it, Liz? Juwan.
Yeah, she's passed out, but there's now what they will now do is all of you that are here, they will ask that you please return all of Pleek's belongings to her, and they'll return Harriet to her normal size and untie Pleek. And Barclay will apologize for Pleek and say, Pleek's a gnome. She came from a very bad home. I know that's a rhyme, but doesn't mean she should do time. He says, Pleek's a trickster by nature, as are most gnomes. They're pranksters. It's just Pleek surely meant no harm to you guys. She just likes to keep things interesting. It's the gnomish way. And she might be a stumbling block to you guys, but please know that Pleek was meant to participate in this as much as anyone else. You were all fated to be here. Nona has seen the cards. You're all meant to participate in this game. So she apologizes for any of Pleek's misdeeds and promises that right now what they're doing is meant to help alleviate that Cersei has planned in a previous lifetime a way to divide you guys all up into separate groups working towards separate goals to guarantee the highest probability of one of you getting a crystal and Cersei still having some sort of sway, basically. So that the next game will have Cersei. Cersei can still influence the next game and come back, basically. So she's already planned this out ahead of time. There is now a test that everyone has to take, including Cersei, to determine which one of these people all of you will follow. So right now you're going to go with one of these 4 people, probably 3. Longa works outside of all of this, so you're going to go with one of these 3 people, and work for them in some capacity upon gaining your next level of mythicism, basically, but learning about what you need to know about the crystal and getting where you need to go to accomplish the next spectrum of your plan, basically. So there's a 7. It's not even a test, really. It's like word association. They're going to give you 7 different combinations of words. Each of you are going to pick one word from this 4-word combination. And then from that, they're going to determine who you go with and where you end up. So remind me again who all is here.
What am I going to have to do with Ortega Ramses?
You're Ramses right now, so Ortega's not here for the sake of this exercise.
Well, I also want to make it known that...
I mean, the way things have been going, Ramses has been able to maintain control a lot of the time, so...
Well, Ramses has, out of game, he's got a will save that's 15 times what...
Ortega's is, yeah.
Ortega's a level 2 character.
Yeah.
So,
No, I know. So that's what they've kind of gotten to the point where they've had people following you around and policing you. You know what I mean? They've had their testing ground. Now that this is happening, they're willing to just say you are Ramses in Ortega's body. They're willing to let whatever happens happens.
The Bernard Forests in Norland and meet Bologna up again and get.
They say whatever side goals you have are fine. Yeah. They say all they're doing is presenting you with options for main goals and just an outlying way of getting towards a crystal if that's your goal, or if not, just to do what fate allows. They say that Nona here, who is the lady that has the deck of many things, has seen all of your fates. And is just trying to... This is a way to help arrange things to happen in a way they need to happen. So you can still follow your own desires. It's just it's a funnel. It's a funnel just to separate you guys into different groups, basically.
So Juwan has already done this, I assume, right?
Well, Juwan's asleep right now, so in-game, no, but out of game, she will have done it by the time anything happens. She'll wake up, take the test, and go with whoever she needs to go with. So, upon our... whenever things start happening, she'll be wherever she needs to be.
Non-mythic folk.
Non-mythic folk will be asked to wait downstairs.
Oh.
wanna go drink some more?
You can take. I mean, you guys already stole all the alcohol, so no one can drink but you.
I flick everyone off and I go down.
Later, bitches. I'll be waiting for you, Nana.
They say. I will say that Long and the rest of them say that some of the people that just went downstairs will be assigned to work with some of you in each of these capacities, but since they haven't touched the crystal yet, they don't need to take this test to see where they're supposed to go. So that's it?
That's it.
All right, so first 4 words. Existence, sequence, orientation, or manifestation.
Say existence. For those 2.
I say existence also.
Next 4 words are thoughtful, spontaneous, executive, and social. Thoughtful, spontaneous, executive, or social. Cersei? Froderick?
With my charisma, I'm going to go social.
But I think Ramses would probably go with, again, I think thoughtful.
Yeah,
Please.
do it.
Thoughtful.
Yeah.
Thoughtful?
Yeah.
All right, number 3. Comfortable, structured, effective, or validated.
Validated.
Ramses?
I would say because of lawful nature structure.
Pleek?
Validated.
Validated. All right, number 4. Dominant, intuitive, attentive, or sensitive.
Intuitive.
Ramses?
I think because it just for the paladin aspect, it would be dominant. Just for strength.
All right, Pleek?
Intuitive.
Intuitive. All right. Next one is judgment, perception, fate, or free will. Cersei, Frederick?
Fate.
Fate?
What were the 4?
Ramses? That's how you...
I think free will because I'm fighting for freedom for everyone. I think that kind of ties hand in hand.
Judgment,
Freedom.
perception, fate, or free will, Pleek. Perception. We have, next one is proficient, flexible, adaptable, or immovable. Proficient, flexible, adaptable, or immovable.
Adaptable.
Being the tank, I would go movable.
Pleek.
Adaptable.
All right, last one. This is the last one, okay, so then we're done. Self, others, wealth, or power.
Power.
Others.
All right, give me 1 second to tally up your results, and that'll determine where you go.
Sorry about your mom.
Well, I planned it, I guess.
I know.
That's like the one thing that kept me going in the group. Otherwise, I was sort of like, fuck you guys, get off my lawn. But instead, I'm like, no, I'm going to figure out what the shit is going on. So,
Give me that micro.
kept me in the game. Way to go, previous lives.
Yeah, you knew what was going on, so you just didn't know that you knew what was going on because you forgot all that stuff from your previous life.
I knew you had a plan for it all. I'm glad we finally got to it.
Yeah,
Me
I've
too.
been waiting for over a year now.
It's
Yeah.
been a year.
Here's what happens. Everyone is going with Jagger except Ramses.
Whoa!
Ramses goes with Nona, the lady from the Deck of Many Things. Juan, Cersei, Froderick, and Pleek all go with Jagger.
Wait, so we're going to HBI?
Yeah. You actually followed Jagger and Barclay back to Westport, to the teleporter. Anything you'd like to say to Barclay before you leave there? It means your uncle, so, you guys are cool. He got you all your stuff back. Got you untied. Do you want anything? He makes magical items, so if you got any requests, now's the time to do it.
I'd like to ask a boon for preserving his nephew's or niece's life. I want my soul shards, damn it, please.
Hey,
Pleek?
he did fucking.
Yeah,
he was
I'll-
good. I was gonna say it, but he did it.
I'll barter that if you need me to. If you don't want to ask him yourself, I'll ask him for you.
Well, I'm talking to Barclay. Like,
Yeah, I thought that's what. Yeah, okay. So
Alright.
25.
Alright, Barclay will ask Pleek if it's true.
yeah, it's true.
It's true that Cersei saved your life and protected you?
I mean,
Kept you in the game?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
All right, she says, well, I guess...
She fought for them not killing me, I suppose.
She says, Barclay says, well, it looks like you're all on the same team now anyway. So that's the way things are going. She says, you're a good niece. She says, if you need anything, come back and visit me here. She says, I'll return one of Cersei's soul shards to her.
Okay, of course.
You receive one of your soul shards? Yeah. He thanks you for taking care of Pleak. He says if you continue to take care of Pleak, you may get the second one. Or if he says I'm an inventor, I make magical items. So if you ever need advice or any other cool magical items, I can help you procure them or make them for you. If you have ideas for things, come back to me. Says I'm a good ally to have. So if you keep me on your side, I'll be glad to teach you my ways. He says this is the point where I leave you. Or says unless Jagger wants to do the meeting here, and Jagger agrees. Instead of going to HBI, we'll do a meeting here with Barclay at present.
I need to ask him for another platform before we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you get a new ring.
Yeah.
Right. He replaces your teleportation ring, gives you another fresh one. Says then if you need another one, let me know. I've got a stack of these back at the office. So if you need any extra ones, they're pretty cheap to make. Really, they're mostly tin.
I'll take more than one.
All right. He'll toss you. Roll me a d4. That's how many you'll get.
What about Alec and
It gives you two
what
portals.
about like a Oregon helmet?
I'll take the free stuff.
Here's what happens. On the way back to the portal, actually, Barclay will grab any one of them that is willing to follow. So any one of you guys that wants to follow Barclay and Jagger in this group going back to Westport, you're welcome to follow them.
Go with Ramses, wherever he's going.
And with Nona.
Yeah. What were the alignments?
It's Nona, which I don't know what the hell that is. We're about to get into that after they do their thing. Jagger, who's with the HBI, and Barclay, who's with the Chaos Realm. Whatever the fuck chaotic. And,
they're more like a... I'll go ahead and say, since you don't know this, Ramses, but I'll say that the rest of the group that is with Barclay, he will explain his role in all of this. He'll try to like alleviate Pleak's, since he'll say that Pleak obviously told you guys that he's the reason that Pleak was doing all this stuff. He will reveal his machinations to you guys, at least some of them, and say that on the last journey for the Great Crystal 50 years ago, he was second in line for the White Crystal, and it was taken away from him. He did not make the cut basically, and was relegated here to Demon's Knot to protect the island. Which he was doing fine until one day his great crystal, was stolen by a thief, and he was never able to recover it. And when that happened, he lost all of his power. He still had his factories because he made a bunch of magical goods from the knowledge he gained from the crystal, because it gains you access to all these other realms and the knowledge of the gods and the other planes, including the planes that have all this knowledge that we don't have on this plane. So that's why he was so far ahead magically of a bunch of other people and his inventions. But he lost the crystal and lost all that, and was just like mass producing the stuff he'd already invented. And he lost his longevity because he lost the crystal. Basically had nothing and was left out to dry. And feels like he was totally robbed because he feels like he should have been the one that got the white crystal. He was good enough. And he'll explain that to get the white crystal, to those of you that are now in Westport, so everyone except Ramses, will explain that the contest to get the white crystal is very competitive and relies on you being a very good-hearted person and a very good person. It's a series of trials and tests. And even at the end of all of that, they make they run you through this basically like your whole history and recount every horrible thing you ever did, and if you can measure up to be good enough to have the white crystal. It says, and he just didn't make the cut because of some of the decisions he made while he was out adventuring, and so he turned to what he calls chaos because after his crystal was stolen, he had nothing else to live for, and started devising another way to participate in the game, and even after his crystal was stolen, so he died. In his factories, he has a number of gnomes from the Darkwood Forest working in his factories. He says he liberated from. If you would like to yell out slave labor, you can. He'll say he liberated. All right, roll me a diplomacy check to yell out slave labor when he says liberated from.
As a guy that was in line for the White Crystal, I think having a group of slaves is not the coolest thing you can do. Asshole.
And the number with that is? I didn't hear what it was.
That's a 10. Well, it was a 5 on the first one.
Oh, well, they're both bad. And he acts very indignant about it and says, I'll have you know, says, you've obviously dealt with my niece Pleak, right? says, "Can you imagine dealing with the whole community of gnomes like that?" He says, "I'll have you know that I gave those gnomes a purpose." He says, so sure, they stay in my caverns at night. He says, I lock them up just to keep them out of trouble, and they work in my factories during the day, but I pay them in plenty of grain alcohol, which they love. And I'll have you know it was either that, or they'd just be running amok in the forest and causing mischief in our towns. He says, I did a favor for this island, capturing all those gnomes. And he says, and I kept this one. He says, I kept Pleek here as my very own. I love those gnomes. He says, you think I mistreat... every one of those gnomes is like family to me. I make sure they stay plenty drunk and happy, and they love making crafts. They're crafty people. They like making magical items. I keep them busy so they stay out of trouble. I'm doing the world a favor.
Ask them if they want to go back home, or if they want to sit in your caves drinking grain alcohol all day. Maybe they're drinking because they live in caves and they were kidnapped from their families.
He says, is that why you drink?
I go, I like to party.
He says, well, then maybe they like to party too.
Well, my God approves of this, and I'm just doing what he would like.
He says, well, my God approves of what I'm doing. So unless you want to start a fatwa, I suggest you don't take this any further. He says, the gnomes are with me, and he says if they want to leave, he says they're more than welcome to try and break out of their cages.
Okay. Bobby, we know what we gotta do.
Yeah, I got a lot to do here. I probably should stay here.
All right, roll for initiative. Well, we just.
All right. Barkley warms up the teleporter, and Jagger tries to get in as much as he can before you guys leave, and tells you his perspective of what's going on. Jagger informs you he was also one of the 9 previous adventurers, and was in the line for the Black Crystal, but luckily aligned himself with the one that won it instead of trying to contest him for it. Because the Black Crystal is very different in that it's usually the one that has the most power that takes it, and either you're an ally with that person and he keeps you alive to work under his regime, or he kills you because you were trying to combat him for power. So Jagger was one of the very fortunate few. There are a whole lot less Black Crystal wannabes left over than there are White Crystal wannabes, I'll say that. Because most of them are wiped out. But Jagger was a very crafty guy, was kept alive, and helped found the HBI as a way to disseminate evil throughout the world, increase the amount of evil, and judging on you guys' answers and on your historical aptitudes and the things you've done in the past, based on the information they have on you guys already, you guys seem primed and ready to be candidates for the Black Crystal. So the 4 of you have been selected as candidates for the Black Crystal, although Froderick is lower on the totem pole because he's a zombie and they prefer someone living to have the Great Crystal. So basically the 3 of you and not Froderick. Froderick's just along as an ally to help you. But he's basically telling you that at the end of this, you'll either all be allies and one of you will be the leader, or you will all fight over this Black Crystal and someone will come out on top, and whoever allies himself with them will stay alive and the rest won't. So that's the message you're getting right now. And you're being taken to the HBI. Yeah. So Jawan's going with you guys, too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So she's asleep, but she's being carried, and you guys teleport. Zoopity zompity zoop! Teleported. You guys are now in West Linya, in the town of Nevercrooks, at the site of the HBI, where Jagger takes you guys to a meeting room. He informs you that you all now have your own offices here at the HBI, and this meeting room is also yours to share. And that you have access to all the HBI resources and materials. You are basically now agents in the HBI. Full-fledged. They say because you are candidates for the crystal, they can't force you to sign a contract, but if you would like to, they can grant you any wish you would like. In concurrence with your job here, if you want a contract. If not, they're still able to offer you contracts that you're able to give out to other people that are the same thing, basically wish contracts to yourselves. Could you, Pleek? You're in this also, so if you want to wish, or if you would like contracts to try to give out to other people, you can take up to 5 at a time. Every time you get rid of a contract, they give you 1,000 gold. If you can get someone else to give away a wish for their soul, basically. You are allowed to lie about what's on the contract, whatever you want, but they tell you that it's like basically a contract for someone's soul, but you give them any wish they want with it. You can tell them whatever it is what you want. You can have up to 5 of those. You can take up to 5 of those. And like I said, you can also get a wish of your own if you like. Just tell me what you want, and we can make that happen. But you do have to sign your soul over to a demon lord. They'll be upfront with you about that because you guys are crystal candidates. They're usually not upfront about that information, but because you're candidates for the crystal, they have to be.
Tony lost his soul.
You guys are all mythics, so they can't lie to you about it because the problem with selling your soul to a demon lord is that one day you may be on the same level as that demon lord and be able to contest it in court.
Cool.
You may grow in power to be as strong as a demon lord.
You have those globes now too.
You do have in your office a globe of scrying that gives you access to all the information that the HBI has information to. All that you have access to their fax machine basically, which you can send scrolls. Pretty much, you can send a scroll pretty much anywhere in the world from your office. So you can write up a scroll magically teleport it from your office to anywhere in the world. You can scry pretty much anywhere the HBI has access to, or anyone they have tabs on. You have access to their alerts. Their alerts, just like the researchers, both include alerts on when someone touches a great crystal. So if anyone's in proximity to a great crystal, or touches a great crystal, or goes mythic, or gains a level of mythic, you'll be alerted, as long as you're in your office. And then if not, next time you go in your office, you can access that information. So, does anyone want to wish? Is everyone too scared of contracts? Everyone likes their souls. I got it. Yeah, it's always on the table. It's an open offer now that you guys are, crystal goers.
HBI is trying to get Robogoic to, Hellport is.
Alright, and what was the guy's name again?
Jagger Dyson. He is the head agent here. He is one of the previous 9. So he'll give you any information you need about the previous adventurers and such. And basically, he'll set you on the proper course you need to go. He says, right now it's important to avoid deaths later on. It's important that you either now all pick a leader or all pick side. So basically, this is a good time for you guys to hang out at the HBI, get to know each other, and decide if you guys are on the same side or not, or if not, whose side are you on, and if you are, who's the leader of all of you, basically. It's a good time to determine, to avoid casualties. He says to avoid death and casualties, just from his own experience from the last time the crystal stuff went down. If you go ahead now and determine who you think is worthy of following, it saves a lot of trouble.
Juwan, Cersei, Pleek, and Frederick.
Yep.
All right.
Correct.
And Cersei's now fully aware that she's been playing the game and murdering herself to play the game and murdering herself to play the game.
She's now been made aware
since
that
the dawn of time.
Well, not since the dawn of time, but for probably about 150.
Yeah.
She's been doing it for a while. She was at one point involved in the game, and since then has found a way to stay involved every time.
Yeah, real.
She likes the game. The game is fun. She's never won. She wants to win.
Yeah.
That's a
So-
lot of pressure to win.
Like most of the other people that have played, like they can't get involved again, which is why most of them have involved their children or their offspring or like semi niece, adopted niece, like Ramses Tritheron is Kelnar Tritheron's son. Even though he hates his father and killed his father, they're related. So some of them have machinations about who gets involved next time. So they're all like trying to keep it going, in some way or another. You're just lucky enough to be Samsaran, so you can make yourself be involved in the game instead of just your children. Or it's like passing down an inheritance sometimes for these people.
That's pretty fun. All right, I like it.
I will shift over to Ramses, who's meeting with Nona, Lady of the Deck of Many Things.
Yeah, I want to go with Nona. Yeah, I'd rather go with Nona than fucking Barclay.
I want to go with Nona.
We're free agents.
Alfred's with you guys too, right? Or is Alfred still somewhere nearby? But
Yeah. Come on, there's 3 weeks. Alfred probably found us, right?
well, he's not. He can't find you below ground, but he's probably in the area. If you want to go searching for him later, you could probably find him. But he's above ground. But all of you except Alfred can go back and meet with Ramses and Nona if you like.
I'm gonna leave a note for Oz because I do like to keep in touch with Oz.
Where do you leave this note?
In the tavern.
Right, you leave a note in the tavern. I don't know how Oz is going to know to go to the tavern, but...
Well, I mean, he's going to go back to Southport. Longa's still in the tavern, right?
I mean, not usually.
Okay.
Usually the tavern's empty and locked,
He
but...
doesn't have his bracer. Secret confiscated. We'll use it later. Talk to him later.
You can still leave a note just in case he shows up.
Yeah, I'll just.
But technically, right now, you're still in the tavern.
Yeah.
And,
I'll just leave a note on the bar. Just if he sees it, he sees it. If he doesn't, he could talk to us on the bracer. Just saying that I've gone with Nona and that Gleek and Cersei have teamed up and gone off with Barclay and Jagger Dyson of the HBI.
All right, you leave that note there. Nona leads you downstairs to your sanctuary, and says this is going to be your headquarters from now on. It says it seems like right now you're our only true candidate for the White Crystal, which means we probably do need to find you a new body.
Yes, I agree.
She says that'll be our first mission, I guess.
Okay.
To find you a suitable replacement. Do you have any suitable replacements in mind?
The only one that comes to mind that I've interacted with that I could get to perhaps submit willingly to allowing me to take their body, which would be a good action and a lawful action, so Rory would approve of it, would be my Venaran friend Baloney, if he's still alive, in the woods of the Venaran forest, and it's in the northern part of Norland, above the Darling Metropolis.
Yeah, she approves of this plan and says, when you leave Ortega's body, she'll regain all of her faculties.
And I will smite her.
She says, okay. She says that'll be your job whenever that happens. Then, says,
yes.
Says, if you feel like this is the journey you should undertake, then Nona will support this. She says we need someone fully in control of their faculties to take the White Crystal. And she says we need someone pure of heart who has done no wrong deeds. She says make sure that you commit no evil deeds on your journeys, or they'll be held against you in the trial.
I've faced a trial of judgment before, and hopefully I can come out with similar results.
All right. Longa's there, and they ask if you'd be willing to take the mark of judgment to prove your loyalty to the cause, as it'll help you later in the trial of proving your worth. So that way you can commit no evil deeds. And they say it won't matter, it'll be on Ortega's body anyway, so if anything, whenever you leave the body, it'll just make it harder for her to be evil. So.
Well, can I get it marked on my spirit?
No, they can't mark a spirit, unfortunately.
Okay.
But they can mark this body on the other arm, and if you get a new body, they can put it on your new body if you come back.
Yeah, I'll just do that.
But if nothing else, it'll fuck up Ortega if she tries to do evil if you leave her body, so.
Yeah.
Alright, so they mark her other arm with the mark of judgment. She gets a -6 to any ability score if she commits any evil deed. And so do you,
okay.
So don't do anything evil or she's just fucking yourself.
Yeah.
Alright, and she will tell you that the road to the White Crystal is long and arduous and is not similar to the Black Crystal in that you're not trying to defeat anyone for that crystal. She says, you're just trying to perpetuate goodness throughout the world. You might know I am cursed with a deck of many things. I'm cursed to follow fate and to deal out fate for other people. And we don't believe that evil can be destroyed. We believe that for good to exist, evil must also exist for there to be a measure.
I agree.
And so they say, we just try to keep evil in check and make sure it doesn't get too strong. Because evil's machinations are always to grow stronger and stronger. And our machinations are to have balance. It says, so after 50 years ago, a great war erupted, and there were many casualties on both sides. And after 50 years, we've been able to maintain a balance, and we actually have a working relationship with the Black Crystal. So you may not realize, but the wall was put up on benefit of both sides and on behalf of both sides. And we have sort of a set of rules arranged to keep both sides in balance to prevent any kind of conflict. It says hopefully whenever you guys take over the crystal, you can maintain some sort of balance also. So that really usually just depends on who's running things. Because usually the Black Crystal will want to take more power. That's just its way. And we always have to prevent that. It says even now, even though we have an arrangement for peace, we still have to be on the watch out for small infractions or little evils here or there. So we're always on the watch, which is why we have the researchers to always keep an eye on what's going on around the world. And you now have full access to, now that you've taken the mark, you have full access to the Blind and Light Guild and the researchers and all their information. Anytime you need information, you can touch your mark and telepathically you will get information. Just touch your mark and ask the question. You can telepathically receive any information the researchers have.
Can I use their telescope?
You can, as long as you're here in town. You can use the observatory.
I want to inform Longa that the Codex of Infinite Planes is in the possession of Oz still. We're planning on destroying it. Originally, our plan was to bring it back to you for you to personally destroy it and or keep it again. And Osk has been stuck behind in Telorix, being questioned on his personal accountability in a situation.
All right. She asks if Oscar's been arrested.
He has not been arrested. He has been detained.
She says, well, in Telorix, that's basically the same thing. Have they confiscated his goods?
I'm not aware. I did not see everything happen, but from my knowledge of Telorix and the Kalnaran people, I would assume yes, from them being a lawful group of people, that they would confiscate anything in the interrogation process. While
right. She very quickly pulls a piece of paper out of her robe and writes a quick note and leads you outside and blows a strange whistle. And a Pegasus comes down from the heavens, and she gives you a note and says, if you hurry, you can get to Telorix before he's released or put on trial. She says, I have a friend in the court system there who may release his belongings to you, and you can take whatever you want from them.
What's your friend's name?
Steve.
Steve.
But with 2 E's. Make sure you spell it with 2 E's.
3 total.
3 total, but 2 in the middle. Correct. Steeve. If you spell it wrong, if you spell it with 3 E's or 1 E, you'll get the wrong guy.
Well, I'm going to ride the Pegasus to Telorix and go rescue Oz.
Well, she doesn't care if you rescue Oz. She just wants to make sure you get the book.
Okay, do I get to ride the Pegasus back?
Yeah, the Pegasus is yours for the duration of the time until the things in your possession and you return back to Southport.
I'm not. I'm gonna try and get you on.
All right, you hop on that Pegasus and ride the 2 weeks across the ocean. I hope you have trail rations with you to snack on and stuff.
I do.
Do you ever fall asleep on the horse?
After 2 weeks. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to go to sleep.
What do you say, like 5 times you sleep, maybe, tops? Because I know you're trying to stay awake because you don't want to be Vortiga.
Yeah.
So roll 5 times Will Saves contest to see if Vortiga takes over any of that time and freaks out for riding a Pegasus over the ocean.
That's going to be a natural 19 plus 11.
So Ramses maintains control after the first nap.
Okay. That's going to be a 17.
High enough? I think it might be.
What am I going against?
Your other roll, Vortiga's roll. You're rolling them both.
Oh, I'm rolling Vortiga versus Ramses.
Yeah. You're sleeping.
Okay. Hold on, my bad. I thought it was like me falling off or something.
No.
Okay. Well, that second roll
I'll assume that this
was
Pegasus is super awesome and you could sleep on it and still ride it because it's super magical.
Well, the first one was a 19 plus 11. I'll roll Vortiga's now because that was Ramsey's full modifier. So that's going to be 5 for Vortiga.
Alright, so Ramses maintains control the first time. You got 4 more then.
Okay. Ramses.
Just quick naps.
Natural 19 plus 11, so that's going to be 30.
Yeah.
And
We'll take another as a chance.
Vortiga got a 14.
Yeah, okay. 2 more?
3 more.
3 more?
Yeah. That's going to be a 16 for Ramses, and I'm going to Mythic Surge it. That's going to be 2. And I'm going to Mythic Surge it again since I'm constantly sleeping, so these are going to regenerate on every turn.
Yeah, every time you have a turn, it's regenerating. It's true, because you're napping.
Yes, I could just Surge it 5 times. That's going to be 8. So that was, yeah. So I'm going to stick with that 24 for Ramses on that roll.
All right.
And then she got a 30 plus 3. She got 6.
I mean, she is mythic, and as a character, she might want to. I don't know.
Don't question my player abilities. That's going to be 22. And then Vortiga's. That's going to be a 16. So 1 more.
Alright.
That's going to be a 9 plus 11.
You know, sooner or later it's going to happen. That's why, you know?
I'm going to surge it just in case. 24. And that's 18 plus 3. So that's only going to be a 21 versus 24. So Ramsey.
Ramsey's on top. All right, so you didn't fall off the horse. It was kind of a rough ride because you were very sleepy and you rode across an ocean on a horse bareback. So your dick probably hurts a lot. Or wait, your rotten cooch, I guess. I forget.
Yeah.
You safely arrive in the desert. The Pegasus lands outside of Telorix because it can't land in Telorix. You might face a fine for that or something. But it lands in the desert outside.
Okay, I go up to the gate.
All right, you go up to the gate. There are guards there. There's a 200 gold entry fee.
I think you mean 20 diplomacy roll.
All right.
That's going to be a 14 plus 11. That's going to be a 25.
All right. Just for that, I'm going to say that you do like a Jedi mind trick, and you say, "I think you mean 20."
Yeah.
Yeah, and you wave your hand in their face, and they're like, "Yeah, 20." They're like, "Yeah, maybe I misread the sign." They can't remember. It's kind of early in the morning. You've arrived very early in the morning, and it's the morning shift, and they just came on, so maybe they're very confused. And they're like, "Yeah, whatever." The taxes change all the time here. The fees change. They never know what the price is. It's an influx, you know?
So I go to the courtroom after I pay the 20 gold. I go to
Courthouse.
The courthouse and I ask to see Steve.
Right.
With two E's in the middle and one E at the end.
All right, they point you to what looks like some sort of like room with a cage in it, and behind the cage is some sort of like evidence or holdings locker. And there's a guy with a name tag that says Steve with two E's in the middle of the other E, and the S and the T and the V. It's a long Steve. So there's a guy with a magic name tag basically in this locker room.
First, I'm gonna read the letter that Longa gave.
All right.
Scroll. I want to read it.
It says,
you get out loud. I want to
all
read
right,
it.
in your mind, in your head, it says, "Dear Steve, how are you? I hope things are going fine. I'm doing fine too. How are the kids? That's great. It's so great to hear from you. Please give my friend Ramses whatever he/she needs. Thanks, hugs and kisses, Longa."
Okay. So it says, give me whatever I need, right?
Yep.
I'm going to walk up to him.
I told you about you to sucking Steve.
I'm gonna walk up to Steve and I'm gonna say, Longa from Southport wanted to give.
He's gonna say,
give this.
shh, and look around.
No, I slide him the letter.
All right, he reads the letter and nods.
I said,
He hands you a requisition form. He says, "Just fill this out."
I write at the top of it and list one OSC.
Okay.
I need OSC. And then I write OSC, all of OSC items.
All right. He looks at your note and says, "I don't have any OSCs here in my storage locker, but I do have some belongings of an OSC. I can fulfill half of your order. That's all I'm capable of doing right now."
How can I get the person out?
He says, I'm not in charge of people. I'm just in charge of belongings.
Who's in charge of people?
He says, "Well, that's going to be a judge probably, or one of the guard."
Just regular Steve.
Yeah, with one E.
Yeah,
Steve with an I. S-T-I-V-E.
well, you know what his trial is?
You can check the calendar for you.
Huh?
You can check the calendar for you.
Sure.
He looks over on the wall next to the cage and looks till he sees the name Osk and then says, "Oh, looks like Thursday. So like tomorrow afternoon at 3.
I'll take his item.
I mean Thursday. It's called Thursday here.
And I will wait and go sit in the gallery at the courtroom, and watch the case go down.
All right. So before Osk's case, there's a bunch of other cases, minor traffic violations and such. They're kind of boring. Some robbery cases. You just hang out in the gallery and watch all these waiting for Osk's trial.
Yeah, all the people that threw fruit at me in the streets are now.
Yeah, they all come in before you to pay their tickets, which are like $3 each.
Bunch of goddamn degenerates.
Yeah, they pay their littering tickets. And then it's time for Osk's trial. And you're there with your court-appointed lawyer, who you have deferred, I think. You said you want to represent yourself. And the lawyer will say that. He says, I'm the court-appointed lawyer, but my client's, deferred and asked to represent himself, and sits down. And you have opening statement.
Well, before all that, I want to cast Eagle Splendor on myself.
Okay, you can do that.
And then and also cast Enhanced Diplomacy on myself.
Okay.
Alright. And I'll say, is there a jury or just a judge?
It's just a judge.
Virtual perception check of the courtroom. How about that?
Okay.
So that's going to be 14 on perception.
Alright, it's a pretty small room. There's a small crowd there. About 15 people. You might recognize one or two of them.
I mean, would I see that Ramses is in the audience?
Ramses Ortega, yeah. You'd probably notice her. You'd probably notice her/he in the back.
And I just want to say, Your Honor and honorable members of the audience, I'm here to say that it was not me who committed these crimes, at least the most heinous ones. I mean, I do admit to having the book, but I've since returned it back in good faith, and I have cooperated in good faith when I easily could have tried to escape or run off. I recognize and respect the lawful nature of your society, and I am here to defend my actions because I know that I have not done the wrongs that you accused me of.
And then the opposing lawyer gets up and says, what we have here is someone who's complacent in crimes, who participated in the kidnapping of children and the theft of government property, and doesn't deserve a trial and deserves to be hung the way we used to do. And only because the judges of Teleorcs are so fine and good do we even allow a trial of someone so heinous and disgusting. Look at this disgusting Aranci centipede body. I can't believe we let creatures like this in our cities, much less around our children and our libraries. Lord knows what he did with our children or our books.
I object. You cannot base my potential incarceration on the way that I look. I'm also going to use a mythic point to use my display of charisma. So that's going to be I rolled a 9.
You get plus 20.
Yeah, so I give me a plus 10 on my roll, and then I equal splendor, which gives me another plus 4, and then I have enhanced diplomacy, which gives me a plus 1. So that's going to be 9 plus 10 is 19. Plus 4 is 23. Plus 2 is 25. Plus 1 is 26.
There you go. That's still plenty. The judge will nod and sort of agree and say, let's hear from some of the other witnesses.
Can I get a witness? Testify. You'll tune in next time for more Long Distance Dungeons & Dragons Dinner Theater.